Hello everybody. Yeah, I don't know where I've been either. I didn't want to leave you guys without new videos, so I just kinda kept taking good videos from other channels and uploading them. So, guys, I figure I owe you all an actual video. And this video, I think, will perfectly wrap up my feelings on some current events and hopefully the end of these current events. The first thing I'd like to address, and the one that I know I am late for, because I don't really want to talk about it like a newscaster, I want to talk more about the philosophical purpose behind it. And that is the trial of Derek Chauvin. Yes, that's right, it's gonna be another, and hopefully the last, politics episode. Now, I firmly believe, after looking over, listening to, and watching the trial myself on YouTube, that the only reason Derek Chauvin should be in jail right now and get found guilty of what he gets found guilty of is if he was not allowed to use the hold or the restraint that he did on George Floyd. Now let me explain. This is actually pretty obvious, and I think that we can all agree that if the hold or the restraint he used was not authorized or forbidden by the police department because people knew it was unsafe, then I think we can all agree that he should be in jail, because that is, without a doubt, wrong, negligent, and illegal. However, if it was not found that he used a hold that was forbidden by the police department because of how lethal it could be, I don't think he should be put in jail. And let me explain why. Now, throughout the trial, some new facts came to light. One is that Derek Chauvin did not have his knee on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes and some odd seconds. I don't know the exact time. But they actually showed a still from another officer's body cam, and they asked people on stand, does it look like his knee is on his neck to you? And they looked, and they're like, no, it looks like it's kind of on his high back, like shoulder area. So people generally came to the agreement that Derek Chauvin was moving his knee, maybe on the neck, maybe on top of his back, blah, blah, blah. And I think the prosecutors kind of took this because they did not really want to prosecute him anymore with pretty much knee strangulation. They wanted to argue the position he was in created an unnecessary risk. Not so much just the knee on the neck, but just simply the fact that force was being put on him while he was, on drugs, and that definitely probably played a role with him being restrained in that matter. Now, here's why I say that he shouldn't go to jail, even if you say something like, well, Trey, if someone's saying they can't breathe, they can't breathe, shouldn't that be obvious that you shouldn't restrain or hold them down in any way? Well, yeah, but I like to propose a question. What would you do? Let's say you're Derek Chauvin, you get a call for some high crime alert. You show up and the police, they got the guy, and you just got to restrain him. Now, me personally, I would go about restraining him because we got this big dude on drugs freaking out, and people on drugs can be rather erratic, we'll say. So I'm going to restrain him, and he starts saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. Well, what would you do? Now, you may, in fact, argue at that point in time, I wouldn't restrain him because it could be dangerous to his health. Now, that's you, and that is commendable to a certain extent, but that would make you responsible for if anything bad happened. Also, I gotta be brutally honest here. If I have to make the decision between jeopardizing someone who took drug safety over the safety of those around them and restraining them, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna restrain the drug addict, because the people around us in that area, they didn't do anything to deserve anything bad happening to them. you made the decision to take drugs, you got yourself into this situation. I'm going to jeopardize your safety before I jeopardize anyone else's. That's just the cold hard truth and how I look at it. Because when you realize what they actually charged Derek Chauvin with, simply restraining him in the manner he did, even if you say, well, I wouldn't put my neck on him in that way, like, you gotta hold him down somehow, and that's pretty much what they got him for. You walk up to George Floyd and you press down on his back, press down his head. You were pretty much doing the same thing. And honestly, if Derek Chauvin was told that he could do what he did, is he really the bad guy here? Is he really where the fight lies? He's just a symptom of a bigger disease. Why treat a symptom when you could treat the disease? Derek Chauvin shouldn't have to face any penalties. The corrupt police system and the police force that told him he could use that hold should be the one to be penalized and held accountable. Nonetheless, I saw in the trial that they did show images from training manuals that kind of did look like a police officer was kneeling on someone's neck to restrain them in the way he was to George Floyd. But I just simply wanted to point out my philosophical reasoning on the case. Because you may have gotten Derek Chauvin put in jail, but, you won the battle, but did you really win the war? How much longer till someone else comes and does something they're allowed to do, and then someone dies? The second and last thing I'd like to talk about is simply Black Lives Matter. I saw your guys' rating. They are lower than Joe Biden's. I think, what is it? It was up to 21% of people said they supported Black Lives Matter. Now it's down to 7%. I think they got a little tired of you guys throwing in temper tantrums. Honestly, someone one day will have to explain this to me. What was the plan? Remember back in 2010 when Black Lives Matter was just a hashtag? Well, just like a goldfish, it seems like it ate a little bit too much for its own good. Black Lives Matter sat there and, honestly, I don't know what they did. I mean, they caused a lot of destruction, a lot of death, and at the end of the day, in order to justify those deaths and the destruction, what did you do? What were the ends that were supposed to justify the means? Abolishing the police? Come on, that didn't even look good on paper. But it was going to work out great in practice? Great, now instead of police killing you, you can just kill each other. It's kind of like if I Thanos snapped all the white slave holders and the slave traders from the 1600s. If I just Thanos snapped them out of existence, the only thing that would change is instead of them enslaving you, you guys would be enslaving each other. Man, history really does repeat itself. I am just so mad at people who want to sit there and want to make excuses for this. There's no excuse for any of what happened, and even if you want to try and say it wasn't Black Lives Matter, it was other people, that is a weak excuse. You cannot make a situation that purposely enables or strengthens or empowers murderers and rapists and pillagers and then say, well, I didn't actually do any of the raping, murdering, or pillaging, so yeah. You think that was Charles Manson's excuse? Well, I didn't actually kill anyone, so I shouldn't be found guilty or considered a murderer. That's not how that works. Honestly, hopefully, things will slow down. I mean, I just heard 6 hours ago there was a shooting, a shooting that happened, and And all we need is for one of those guys to be black, and yeah. Well, I'll simply say this. Black Lives Matter, you stuck your hand in the flame and it seems like you got burned. I personally doubt you learned your lesson, but now with everyone refunding the police, actually refunding the police and giving them more money, I don't think it matters if you learned your lesson. I think others learned it for you. Oh well. Road to hell is paved with good intentions. That's all I got for today. Like, subscribe, do all that good YouTube stuff. I'll see you around, and stick around. I'm about to post another video from another channel.